pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask Jason Stewart if he'll lead us in prayer.
You bow your heads, please. So, Heavenly Father, we come before you at this time, Lord. We thank you for this day. Thank you, God, for this city. We thank you for everyone that's gathered here tonight. Lord, we ask that you would lead, guide, and direct this council as we do business for the city, that your will would prevail. We ask, God, that you keep your hand on our police, our fire, our safety, and our soldiers abroad. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order by asking Ms. Toddy for a roll call, please.
Just to the copy room. Cindy Wood. Candida Robinson.
Here.
Kara Roach.
Here.
Billy Poe.
Here.
Jason Stewart.
Here.
John Paul Thompson.
Here.
Ernie Link.
Here.
Brandon Schrader.
Here.
Bonnie Winkles.
Here.
Brett Parker.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. You have a copy of the minutes for the March meeting in your packet, and I'll give you a minute to look over those and entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as written.
Ernie Link made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Jason Stewart second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. Minutes will stand approved. Financial report's also in your packet. I'll give you a minute to look over it.
Just have a question on page 13. That'd be the police department, and I know we had done the contracts for the agreements for the tasers and the vehicles, and I know looks like we're at 93% of that budget line item. Is that all front loaded? Do we expect to see any more cost from that, or hit that line item? And same with the repair and maintenance.
The tasers are, and I believe the vehicles are too. The tasers and the vehicles, we pay for them up front, right?
Vehicles, we pay,
They're monthly, or by the year, or,
maintenance is by the month.
yeah. But the cars themselves are by the year. Okay.
So we don't expect any other purchases to come out of that rental contracts and dues line item?
Shouldn't.
Or at least nothing that would be,
I went by this weekend, they're all in Little Rock.
I got you,
Supposed to start the
upgrade process.
upgrade process this week.
Okay.
We shouldn't have, well, there's one other expense that we may have. We have what they call a rocket that does the Wi-Fi through the car.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll have more cars than we do rockets. You can't buy a rocket system anymore. So we've talked to some people in Jonesboro, sell something simple. So we'll get the prices on that. That's how they run their computers through ACIC. So that's when they-
I just saw that.
We don't know how much.
Okay. Appreciate it.
And also that same system, if we ever get in-car cameras, it will connect, which our old system.
Did we price those?
No pricing.
Good to have.
I mean, out of Jonesboro's got some really good prices.
Good. Thank you, Chief.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed with no.
We don't have a motion in a second.
Did we not?
No, I'd make a motion to approve. That was the only question I had.
I thought we did. That was in discussion. Brandon made a motion to approve. John Paul second. Now, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed with no. All right, department reports. Chief Thomas.
Quarterly stats. Total calls for service comparing the first quarter of '26 to the first quarter of '25. Total calls are down 3%, traffic stops are up 32%, disturbances are down 5%, accidents are down 2.1%, and theft and burglary is down 48%, which is a big number.
Good deal.
And I think when you see the traffic stops go up, drug arrests go up, and the crime goes down. So it's, these guys here for different reasons, but that's because of proactive policing. The taser 10s that we've talked about, we've had for probably a couple months now. We were waiting on training cartridges. Finally got those in, we got everybody trained and certified last week, except for 3 or 4 guys that are out of town. And like I said, the cars, all the cars are Little Rock, we should be starting on those next week. I've been bringing these new guys in one at a time, introducing them. Penny, actually, but
He's on his way. He just turned off 9146 here.
when Sergeant Penny gets here, I'm gonna give him a rule, so that's the reason these guys are here. But since they're all in here, I'm gonna introduce them. It's like the night shift, you probably never see them, you may hear their name. Sergeant Ronnie Henley, he worked days, he's worked 9 years, he's from Trumann. Corporal David Davison, he's got 5 year service, he lives here in Trumann. Patrolman Trevor Edwards, he's one of their guys, he's been here about a year. Patrolman Chalino Galvin, he's worked 7 months, he just graduated academy in Pocahontas last week.
Congratulations.
He likes about 2 more weeks, and he'll be out on the road by himself, is that right? Patrolman Rodney Laster, he's been with us about 4 months. I recognize him from the video, everybody's watched that. I saw some comments on that, that we should look at Brooklyn, why is that Brooklyn? I can answer that. I recruited him to come to Trumann. He's a good officer, he done good on that style, and that's the reason he's here. And he drives back and forth every day. How long does it take to get here? About 30 minutes. He worked a job there in Brooklyn, right where he lived. I recruited him to come here, he came. We hope to keep him, expect big things out of him. He's a, what you call a drug cop. Truman Riley Cole, he's got 18 months total with a dispatch position, and then 6 months with a truck. And Riley just graduated from academy in Canton.
Congratulations. Lord
About
help.
2 more weeks, you'll be on your own, right?
Did you love Camden?
No, sir.
I didn't either. It smelt, didn't it?
Yes, sir. The last one is Sergeant Penny. He's the one that I need here, and he's not here yet.
We need a clap when he comes in?
No, no. He don't know about this.
Oh.
Everybody just be real quiet, stare at him.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce Denise Whitman. She's worked here 18 years. She's the communications director, the jail administrator, CID secretary, IT specialist. They kept telling me everything she does, we ought to be paying her like 3 different things.
All those hats.
I always said, if she leaves, I leave. That's Sergeant Jonathan Penny just come in.
So that's the one.
Yep.
Hmm.
How long you worked here?
I think going 5 years.
5 years? Come from Blytheville PD?
Yes.
How long you worked at Blytheville?
4 years.
4 years, you get 9 years? Look pretty good. This is the last one here.
Uh-oh.
So, we spend a lot of money on tasers and cars, and y'all trust me to do that, so I'm gonna kind of give you some background on what you're paying for. March 7th, 2026, Sergeant Penny responded to a reported shooting in Poinsett County. Despite being advised to disregard from the county due to jurisdiction, recognizing the urgency to the situation and potential delay in the county response, Sergeant Penny made the decision to proceed to the scene alongside with Officer Huddle. On arrival, Sergeant Penny encountered a chaotic and unsecured environment involving an active shooter situation, multiple individuals on the scene, and a critically injured female suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Demonstrating decisive leadership and sound judgment, Sergeant Penny instructed Officer Huddle to pursue the fleeing vehicle, which ended up having a shooter in it. He remained at the scene and detained another armed subject. Sergeant Penny then secured the immediate area as best as possible, quickly transitioned to rendering life-saving medical aid to the victim. while managing an emotionally charged and volatile scene, including hostile individuals and limited backup, Sergeant Penny provided critical care to the victim, identifying and treating multiple gunshot wounds as EMS arrived. His rapid response, courage under pressure, and commitment to preserving life directly contributed to the victim receiving timely medical treatment. Sergeant Penny's actions reflect exceptional bravery, initiative, and dedication to duty, placing himself in harm's way to save another human life. What do you say, is there 45 minutes before anybody from the county got there back yet? Anybody's up? You got a fight, we're gonna get you for this.
Me.
Good job, man.
Chief, we need to make sure we're clear that our guys are deputy commissioned.
Yeah, we all have deputy commissions, and for that reason. County didn't have anybody out, they just have to respond to somebody from their house. He knows that, so the dispatcher from the county said, disregard, we got hold of our guy. Not time, he went there. It was a two-lot, if y'all.
Had a feeling.
Ain't you been shot 5 times?
I believe it was,
Seven. Had one guy fleeing with a gun, he encountered another guy with a gun, and it's pretty chaotic. Total, the other officer stopped the other vehicle before he shot himself. Anyway, point out is when you spend money on these tasers and cars, and we'll get guys like him.
And I'll say again, as I've said many times, we've got one of the best police departments in the state of Oregon.
I got a cousin that's a parole officer in Jonesboro. He was on a task force, recovered like 12 counties. My sister came to his mom the other day, his name's Brian Hood. And his mom said, Brian was saying that Truman's got the best police department around right now. So I told those guys to the other day. So that really made me happy to hear that.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to stay if you want, but some of you guys have already put in 12 hours. Thank y'all.
All right.
My wife's at home cooking, I gotta go.
All right, Chief Kemper?
I don't have anything new to add to fire, but I will say, me and one of my firefighters who responded with Sergeant Penny, and, he was awesome. We got there, he already had the suspect in the car, we didn't know, he was armed. He actually was one of them firing shots, he was firing at the back. He had awesome care, the victim had something like 7 gunshot wounds, I think we found 12 holes. He already had an occlusive bandage on what we call sucking chest wound, which is a wound to the upper abdomen area. And so the care he gave to this woman was what saved her life, it really is. And just, it was chaotic, there was lots of people, he was by himself. I'd say he can get law enforcement back up for probably 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was just us two and him for probably 45 minutes because they had the actual real suspect in the car. So it's pretty big. It's hard to put into words what he had to do by himself because that's tough. He doesn't know what he's getting into, but he knows that people have been shot, and he knows that there's lots of people out there in the dark. There's no street lights in Tulane. So I added that because it's hard to put into words what he really did. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and at that time, we had 3 guys on nights, Rodney taking off on vacation. So that left us 2 guys. One went to that scene, one went to the other scene, and there's no more backup. So they used to do what they have to do.
Yeah, it was pretty good, it really was. On the fire side, we have a class coming up, we're teaching the senior CPR next week. I'm not sure how many, they have 100 students, but it's also the last day of school for them. Who knows how many's gonna show up for that. We just had the kindergartners at the fire station last week. I think we had like 120 of those kids, they loved it, sprayed water, got us all wet. Meet up on Sparky, which is not Sparky anymore, Artie. It's Marshall now, and they don't know Sparky anymore. Yeah, we call him Sparky, like, no, that's Marshall. I didn't know this was Sparky.
Paw Patrol, that's exactly
Yeah,
what
so it is. I had to buy a whole new kid because they don't know who Sparky is. And what's the police dog?
Chase.
Chase. They
Yep.
was asking where Chase was. They was like, ah, what's Sparky?
He did donut shop.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's what we got going. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Mr. Fagan?
I have nothing compared to any of that, on both those departments. If you got any questions for me, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Hey, my sewer flushing when I flushed, I'm tickled to death.
That's an important thing too, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Just as
We appreciate
appreciated.
that other, but we like water and sewer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got one more thing. Jude showed up. I didn't, he's working nights. I didn't know he was coming over. Jude, how long you working?
It's been about a year and a half.
Okay. He dispatches for us at night, and he also is our drone operator. Very good at it.
Cool.
All right, Mr. Campbell is out of the country right now. I do know that he is working on, several different grants that we're trying to get, and, but he'll be, hopefully be back for next month's council meeting. And I'm guessing that Macy is probably out at the complex, so things are going good out there. We're getting a lot of compliments about, how good things are looking out there at the complex and at the TRC and the park in their area. So she's doing a good job. Committee reports. We had 2 committee meetings, which we will be bringing those up if we want to do those. Jason, if you want to wait till then, which one? Okay, Karen? Okay. Ward reports.
We had our town hall meeting number 2 on go. Had a really good turnout, another great turnout. It's good to see the community working together. Felt like we got a little bit further into our list as far as how we can help combat light and some of the street lights. And I've seen where energy's been out, and they've been doing some changing out those, so we appreciate that. And really just kind of keep that momentum going. We've got the 3rd one scheduled for the 30th over at the Old Community House, and just looking forward for the turnout and see how it goes.
Any other ward reports? No unfinished business, and now we're on to new business. Ordinance number 753 is first on the agenda. Councilman Thompson had Mr. Gazaway to write this ordinance. We worked on an alcohol ordinance for restaurants to sell alcohol back in November of 22, or 23, excuse me. 24. I'll get it right in a minute. At that time, we negotiated, we worked out and compromised and set a limit for the amount of alcohol by volume per drink at 50%. I do not believe this to be in the best interest of our citizens to amend that ordinance to allow drinks to be served with no limit on the amount by volume. Like Escada Restaurant, I've talked with them, and they said they were satisfied with the 50% because it allowed them to sell margaritas, which was the main mixed drink that they were concerned about. I don't see where allowing stronger drink that would make it more possible to get intoxicated before driving away from the restaurant would be for the better interest of our city and citizens. With that being said, Mrs. Toddy, will you read ordinance 753, please?
Ordinance 753, 2026, an ordinance amending section 6 of ordinance number 740, 2024 of the city of Trumann, Arkansas, to remove the limitation on the alcohol content of alcoholic beverages sold for on-premises consumption and to provide that such sales shall comply with applicable Arkansas alcoholic beverage control laws and regulations, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. Whereas the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas previously adopted ordinance number 740, 2024, regulating the sale and distribution of alcoholic beverages within the city, and whereas section 6 of ordinance number 740, 2024 currently limits the alcohol content of beverages that may be sold for on-premises consumption, and whereas the City Council finds that regulation of alcohol content is more appropriately governed by the laws and regulations of the state of Arkansas and the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division, and whereas the City Council desires to amend section 6 of ordinance number 740, 2024 to remove the local limitation on alcohol content and instead require compliance with all applicable state laws and regulations. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, Amendment of Section 6 of Ordinance Number 740, 2024, the following provision contained in Section 6 of Ordinance Number 740, 2024, no alcoholic beverages containing more than 50% alcohol by weight shall be sold in or at on-premises permitted location is hereby repealed and replaced with the following language. Alcoholic beverages of any alcohol content may be sold by establishments permitted for on-premises consumption within the city of Trumann, Arkansas, provided that all such sales fully comply with the laws of the state of Arkansas and the rules and regulations of the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division. Section 2, all other provisions of ordinance number 740-2024 shall remain in full force and effect unless specifically amended herein. Section 3, severability. If any provision of this ordinance is determined to be invalid or unconstitutional, such determination shall not affect the validity of the remaining provisions. Section 4, emergency clause. The city council finds that clarification of the rules governing the sale of alcoholic beverages is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, and safety, and for the orderly regulation of businesses operating within the city. Therefore, an emergency is declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve? John Paul Thompson made a motion.
I second it.
Kara wrote second. Discussions.
I just want to be clear, everybody knows what we're doing. This does not state that people are going to go into a restaurant and get intoxicated by drinking alcohol. All this is doing is making sure that we follow ABC guidelines. If ABC says this is what they should have, then we should follow ABC guidelines. In turn, it could hamper the way we have it, having other restaurants wanting to come into town and build here and create revenue. Nothing's going to stop somebody from drinking alcohol. If that's the case, they can go to Payless or any other alcohol place and get a fifth of whiskey and down it in their car and drive. They're non-regulated there. At least these restaurants are regulated by the ABC on what they do. And that's all this ordinance is. It makes them follow ABC guidelines. You should not be able to go to Jonesboro and get an alcoholic drink in a dry county, and you can't get an alcoholic drink in a wet county. That's all this does.
Well, first of all, we're not Jonesboro. Second of all, you can get an alcoholic drink in a wet county. This is not saying you can't get an alcoholic drink. What this is saying is it puts a limit, and ABC allows for us to put limits. We can't go above what ABC says, but we can go stricter. And it allows us to at least regulate at the restaurants. They're selling food. They're not an alcohol store. Yes, they can go to a liquor store and get alcohol and take it with them. But why are we going to give them an easier access to get intoxicated and drive when we don't have to? It's not going to bring in that much more revenue, if any. And the business, the restaurant themselves are what's in there for. Jerry's don't want anything more than selling beer. They've never applied for any other license. La Cascada, I've talked to Jose and the owners there. They're satisfied with the 50% because all they want to sell is margarita and stuff less. That's the strongest. So why do we want to make it easier for people in Trumann to go to a restaurant and drink stronger alcohol and take the chance of them getting intoxicated and driving?
There's nothing easier than a liquor store.
Well, it's easier if you're sitting there eating and it's readily available. So, that's just my opinion. When I took office, I swore that I would do what I thought was best for the citizens of Trumann, Arkansas. And I feel like that it's in the best interest of the citizens of Trumann to not have to go or not have a unlimited amount or percentage by volume of alcohol that they can get at a restaurant. Again, that's my opinion. Y'all are the ones that make the vote, not me. But I do believe that I should be able to express my opinion as well.
But this ordinance, just to clarify what you just said, that doesn't mean that they can go in that restaurant and get unlimited drinks. That restaurant is controlled by the ABC. They can only serve so many drinks per customer, period.
And how many restaurants and how many places have you seen that sell alcohol that have actually sat and monitored exactly how many drinks have been done?
They have to.
They have that.
They don't.
Well, yeah, ABC.
But that's on the restaurant.
Yep.
I know it's on the restaurant, but it's also part of us to be able to help our
I
citizens.
don't know where we would be involved with the process at all, outside of just, hey, this is the business, this is what they're wanting to do. ABC has strict, very strict rules, and as far as I can tell, they're probably one of the few that are more aggressive when it comes to over-serving or serving to minors, or, so.
I have to disagree with you. I've spent many years in law enforcement, and I've arrested many people that have left restaurants that were highly intoxicated. I've been to several accidents where the drivers were intoxicated that had just left restaurants, and even bars. Bars are supposed to be regulated as to how much they can sell, but it's happened, and I've done it many, many times. And that's just, I'm just saying, my feelings, my thoughts are what's best for the citizens of Trumann, Arkansas. Now, that's my statement, and I'm gonna leave it, y'all can discuss more and see what we need to do there. And again, in November, we haggled back and forth, and we come to a,
Well, we had to haggle back and forth in November because we had promised round one, they could get a liquor license or whatever, and they still hadn't had it. So the
this
guy
was
was,
before round one even.
No,
November 24th, you wasn't on the council.
No, I was.
She
And
was, and we discussed.
I'm the one that had to haggle because nobody else would speak up. I did not want the 50%. I did not think that there should be a limit. If the ABC says there's not a limit, then there shouldn't have been a limit, but nobody else would say anything. And now we finally have council members that will say something. And my opinion is we should go by whatever the ABC says, not limit it to.
But the
what
ABC
we-
allows cities. to
I
do
understand
this,
that,
and that's
but
what
I
I'm saying.
still don't think that there should be.
Doesn't mean we have to.
So that's
Yeah.
my opinion, is that we should go by what the ABC says, and that's what this is doing.
Which is also why we're here in an emergency clause, because this has been drawn out since November
So long.
of 24.
This is the first time it was brought back up when he brought it back.
I know we've passed a few, and there has, I know, and I've missed a couple where y'all have spoken about one of these in particular. So I don't want to speak too much on it, but it sounds like there was some hardship that was obtained by business owners because of this. So I'm just hoping we can get this done and get
A business owners or a business owner?
business owners, as in plural.
The only hardship
sit there and
I see,
argue, I'm just
the
telling
only
you.
hardship I'm saying is on round one. So,
Well, that is a business in Trumann that brings in revenue.
I understand.
And there shouldn't be a hardship on them, there shouldn't be a hardship on La Cascada. So, and I know we got the majority of theirs taken care of with the last one, but this still leaves it open for other businesses that potentially want to come to town to not have to go through the same things. And to, let's be honest, most people are probably not buying drinks with 100 proof alcohol in it. That is few and far between. And somebody can get just as drunk off of drinking 3 margaritas as they can 1 shot. We're not even, that's a non-issue. You can still do the same, and ABC does regulate it, and it's on ABC to regulate that restaurant. If people are leaving there so intoxicated and having accidents, and that's unfortunate. But this is not helping that or hindering that in either way. It's just saying we are following what ABC says.
I mean, I believe that it is our responsibility to step up and to help our citizens not have to have that opportunity. And, you know, again, I mean, I'm not gonna argue, and I know you're not, you're expressing your, and I understand that, and I respect that. And I'm not arguing that,
I'm saying what I feel is what I believe, on a personal note, is best for the citizens of Trumann, not to have to take that chance. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. Anyone else? Ms. Toddy, roll call vote, please.
Candida Robinson,
Four.
Kara Roach,
4.
Billy Pope,
4.
Jason Stewart,
Against.
John Paul Thompson,
4.
Ernie Link,
4.
Brandon Schrader,
4.
Bonnie Winkles,
4.
Brett Parker.
4.
All right, next up is resolution number 1334. I'm sorry.
So that was just the first reading.
Yeah, emergency clause.
Yeah,
And those got an emergency clause on it.
Gotta read
So it's still gotta have the third reading.
You gotta have three readings.
Okay.
it. We do it by title only?
Every ordinance is
I make a motion to do it by title only.
Second.
Is that okay with you?
Make the correct motion.
Sure. I just need to get this down.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and read it by title only.
If we're gonna do that, because this is a controversial thing, we have people in here that I know that want to speak for or against, and I think that we ought to give them that opportunity, since we're not gonna give them an opportunity down the road. If we want to give them an opportunity to speak for or against it.
I agree.
Is there anyone here that wants to speak for or against this ordinance? Yes, sir, come up. I'm sorry, hold on
Go
just a
too
second.
far. We haven't even suspended the rules or read this by title only. We just passed it on first for a second or third reading. So we actually probably need to, that motion needs to be made and needs to be passed, and that motion has to pass by 2/3 vote in order to suspend the rules, to read it by title only for the second and third reading. Once it's placed on the second reading, and then if you've got people who speak for and against, then that'd be the purpose to do that. So let's see if that motion is made and passes first.
We need to follow Robert's Rules of Order, and that's what we need to do. So John Paul Thompson made the motion to suspend the rules and read it by title only for the second and third reading. Ernie Link second. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no.
No.
Now we can let them talk.
She needs to read
She
it by
needs
title
to
only.
read it first.
Second reading.
Will you read the second reading by title only, please?
Ordinance number 753, 2026, an ordinance amending section 6 of ordinance number 740, 2024 of the city of Trumann, Arkansas, to remove the limitation on the alcohol content of alcoholic beverages sold for on-premises consumption, and to provide that such sales shall comply with applicable Arkansas alcoholic beverage control laws and regulations, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. Third reading.
We wait for before we do the third reading, let them talk, or we do the third reading first?
I would, on the second reading, if you want to let them talk now, that's totally appropriate.
Okay. You can come up.
I think it's saying 3 minutes.
You've got 3 minutes, tell your name and information.
I'll read fast. Michael Jernigan, and I am a citizen of Trumann. The item of business that is before this council is one of great concern, as well as tremendous consequential gravity, first of all for our entire town, and if passed, will no doubt extend beyond the city limits. If this council advances this proposed ordinance, it will bear the weight of such impact that will no doubt resonate in the homes of individuals, one day looking down at a picture they hold in their hand of a loved one that has been taken at the very decision made this evening to permit such an ordinance. The city has already been dealing with high levels of vices on a day-by-day basis, and we continue to hear about the increased needs of finances to help support our law enforcement agency with the resources needed to help them combat the issues already at hand. Now for our town to lend itself to potentially and knowingly pass one of the most life-shattering ordinances should be disheartening to any upright moral community. It Consider the lives that will be endangered by this increased percentage of potential drunk drivers by passing this ordinance, and the increased domestic abuse, broken homes, and broken hearts and appearances that would result because of people who now would be able to purchase drinks with even higher levels of alcohol, of which those in this room certainly know it will carry grave consequences. Most have worked hard to see this community of ours improve and be more inviting to potential residents, upright businesses that reflect honest ethics and safe, wholesome family values. What you're contemplating this evening would be putting the city in reverse and take it back to what used to line the streets years ago. I don't know how many of you have looked inside of a car after being hit by a drunk driver, but I have. I don't know how many of you have sat in council with families long hours at a time that have been ripped apart by the addiction of alcohol, but I have. I don't know if you have been called in the middle of the night asking for encouragement, guidance, and prayer for a spouse that never came home because of this that is being considered tonight, but I have. I don't know how many of you have watched a drunk stagger into a church building after having too much to drink at a place that served this, but I have. I've been preaching the gospel for 33 years, and I've witnessed so much. Our churches often are called on to pray for family members who have found their way back into such places that promote their life-threatening habit. It's no easy thing to be at the hospital, or even worse, at a funeral home, when the inevitable may come from such ordinances permitting actions of these establishments. If you pass this ordinance, you will be undoing the progress that we have seen accomplished in this town lately. Because mark my word, it will be inviting such casualties. As a citizen and a pastor of this community for over 20 years, I'm appalled that this is even being considered. I want to close with 2 verses.
Mr. Jeremy, your time's up, sorry. Thank you. Is there anyone else here that's for or against that wants to speak? Yes, sir.
My name's Jared Self. I live in Ward 5. Driving while under the influence of alcohol is already a crime. People make the choice to do that or they don't. Drive fast, breaking other laws. People choose to make those decisions for themselves every day. Having a stronger margarita, having a mixed drink isn't going to affect my decision to, or anyone else's decision to break a law or to commit a crime. So I'm for it. People can already make those choices now if they want to make them. They can just do it in another town besides this one and then drive back to this town. So I'm for it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Mr. Gasway, let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. When you prosecute and DWIs, do you have an idea of where most of those are coming from? Are they coming from a liquor store, they're coming from home, they're coming from?
That's a good question, because I do prosecute the DWIs that come through Trumann District Court. I was a prosecutor in this county for about 9 years. I prosecuted negligent homicide, manslaughter cases. People were under the influence, just like the pastor talked about. I have seen those photographs. I've sat with those families who lost loved ones because somebody was driving under the influence. But to answer the question in terms of where they were coming from, it's hard for me to say. Police officers probably have a better idea than me, but I think, for me, the big question is, do you want to make it easier for people to get drunk or harder? Does this make it easier for them or harder for them? Actually, businesses would probably prefer a lower limit because then people have to buy more drinks. But I just think the issue is, do you want to make it easier for people to get drunk or do you not? I don't have a vote on it, so it doesn't matter to me. You don't do whatever you want. But I have prosecuted those cases. I have seen them, negligent homicide, manslaughter, people under the influence, killed. It's a terrible thing.
I wasn't gonna go that far into it, as far as my part of it goes. This hits home for me. As an 11-year-old child, I lost my dad to a drunk driver. Not only him, but the 4 kids that were in the vehicle that hit him, all 4 died. That's part of the reason, it's not the only reason. I can distinguish from that. That's part of the reason why I'm such against this. Again, the other reason, the main reason is because when I took office to do what I felt was best for the citizens of Trumann, Arkansas. That's my opinion. Again, we'll go from there. Any other discussion? Ms. Todd, you'll read the 3rd reading, please.
Ordinance number 753, 2026, an ordinance amending section 6 of ordinance number 740, 2024 of the city of Trumann, Arkansas, to remove the limitation on the alcohol content of alcoholic beverages sold for on-premises consumption and to provide that such sales shall comply with applicable Arkansas alcoholic beverage control laws and regulations, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
We hear a motion to approve. I make a motion. John Paul made a motion.
A second.
Kara, second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please, Ms. Toddy.
Cindy Wood, absent. Candida Robinson.
4.
Kara Roach.
4.
Billy Poe.
4.
Jason Stewart.
No.
John Paul Thompson.
4.
Ernie Link.
4.
Brandon Schrader.
4.
Bonnie Winkles.
4.
Brett Parker.
4. We're done, right? On that part? Okay. I didn't want to go on to the next one and mess up there.
Keep us in mind.
Yeah. And it's the first time we've gone through something like that, so I want to make sure we get it right. All right, next is resolution number 1334. We had a rebid, the clear water tank due to the first bids coming in at $2 million or more over budget. Mr. Manley rewrote the specs and we sent it out for rebid. There were 4 options on tanks and we only received bids for 2 options. One was for a welded steel tank and the other was for bolted glass line tank. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Manley, which is our engineer with this grant, if he would explain the differences and the bid process and the results.
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor said, we bid this water, this is the second time we bid the water project. To refresh your memory on what is actually included in the water project, is this time included 2 contracts. Contract 1 was the construction of a new ground storage tank to replace the concrete tank that you have at the existing water plant. Those options included 4 options. They included the bidding of a glass line bolted steel tank, a bolted option 2, or one of the options, I may have them out of order, but another option, the second option was the bidding of a bolted stainless steel tank. The third option was the bidding of a welded steel, carbon steel tank that is coated. And then option 4 was the construction of a concrete tank, similar to what you have now, other than just beefed up quite a bit because of current regulations. Contract 2 included the construction of a new water treatment facility. All of this is taking place at your new well site at the end of Delta Street. But contract 2 included the construction of a new building, new high service pumps, new electrical, a generator to run the facility, and all the interior piping to tie everything together. So that's what was included in the bid. The difference in the 4 options that we bid, as the mayor said, we only got prices on 2. But the options with the 4 is the glass line bolted steel tank is a steel tank that is bolted with gaskets, but it is glass lined. So it does not ever have to be coated in the future. So it is, I'm not going to say virtually maintenance free. They have to be cleaned and all tanks have to be cleaned and inspected by health department requirements. The second option, we didn't get any prices on those. The third one was the welded steel tank. It is a carbon steel tank that is welded. It is coated on the inside with a epoxy coating that is NSF approved for water storage. The outside, it is coated with a urethane coating. So that tank has to be painted periodically as that coating starts to fail. If you do not, the tank starts to pit and your structural stability of that tank degrades. So typically, after you do your construction, typically a new tank will run 12 to 15 years before a coating system is required. After that, as you coat them periodically and as they get older, the coating systems don't last as long. After 2 or 3 coatings, we'll see 10 to 12 years on coating systems. So, but that is an ongoing expense that you have with the welded steel tank. The concrete tank, we did not get any bids on. It is a cast-in-place concrete tank. It is coated on the inside and outside also, and has a TPO type roof on the top to keep on the welded steel. I think we actually got 2 bids on the welded steel and 1 bid on the glass line tank.
You should have a copy of the bids, bid sheets.
Our welded steel tank, if you've got the budget analysis, they have a copy of this, Mayor?
Right.
Okay. If you're looking at that, it kind of, the first table gives you a total of what the budget is. The total budget, $2,763,250. That goes between both of these budget analysis, so that's a common number. Engineering fees are $263,250. That's a common number. Administrative fees, $65,000. That's through East Arkansas Planning and Development for administrating the grant and the grant requirements through EDA and DRA. The contract 1 base bid was $1,697,816. I had one contract. That is for the water treatment facility. Contract 2 is for the water storage tank. What I forgot to explain was under the base bid, when we bid all 4 types of tanks, we bid a base bid of 500,000 gallons. We increased the size over what you've got right now. As a deductive alternate, we brought that tank size down to 300,000. 300,000 is what you currently have at the water treatment facility. So that's the reason that says contract 2 less the deductive alternate number 1. This is for the 300,000 gallon tank, both of them. The bid for the welded steel was $1,202,000. When you basically do the math, you are $464,816 over budget with the welded steel tank. The budget analysis for the glass line, the budget engineering fees, administration fees, and contract 1 are the same. Contract 2 less the deductive alternate number 1 is $1,435,930. This option for the glass line tank is $698,746 over budget. Welded steel is cheaper. Glass line, of course, is more expensive. If you look at long-term cost, you're probably, my best guess today, if you was going to paint this welded steel tank today, probably cost you $250,000 to paint it. So in 12, the difference in the 2 tanks, and then after that period, it's going to start costing you money. That's typically how that's typically the comparison between the welded steel and the Boltons.
And we have to take it out of service.
And you have to take it out of service, yes. Typically, when we take a tank out of service to paint it, it's out of service 30 to 60 days. So at that point, we have to either bypass the tank or we flush water out on the ground for a month to 2 months with blow-offs. So that's the difference. Do you want to go into what the recommendation is, or do you want me to do that, Mayor? So, you got any questions about the bid process and the alternatives or anything like that?
So we had 4 bids to begin with?
You had,
That was over budget?
Well, we bid the tanks and then we bid the treatment facility. There were 8 total bids that come in, but there were only 2 bids on the tanks. right?
There were 3 bids on the tank.
3 bids on, that's
We
right.
had- We had 2 bids on the welded steel tank and 1 bid on the glass line tank. 0 bids on the stainless steel and 0 bids on the concrete. Then we had, I think 3 bids. Actually had 5 bids on the water treatment facility.
We had 8 total bids.
8 total bids, yes,
So-
yes. The water treatment facility, there wasn't any deductive alternate, so there's not really anything we can vary there. That's the reason we're talking about the tanks. We knew under the first bidding, we did not have this split out into 2 contracts. We had it under 1, so that general contractor was marking up those tank costs. So we tried to eliminate that markup. And we also, under the first bidding, had a glass line tank only. Under the second bidding, we wanted to give options, so we could compare what those prices were for the different types of tanks. So, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Who all did we send the bids out to? What's your process?
The bid process is, state law requires you to advertise the bids 2 consecutive weeks in a statewide circulation paper. So we send that to the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. That is the only statewide circulation paper that I'm aware of in the state. We advertise those on Sundays because Sunday is the only true statewide circulation date. The rest of the dates have part of the counties are Sunday, everybody gets a hard copy paper. So that's the process that's required by state law. We also send the copies of the advertisements out to all the contractors we've done work in the past. I've got a list here of about a page and 3/4 of contractors that we send ads out to. We also put those advertisements and we send the plans and specifications, excuse me, to plans rooms. Southern Reaper Graphics, it used to be called Dodge, I don't remember what they're called now, and there's another plan room that we send it to. So that's how we get it out. That's the process.
Then we had to
like
follow,
I said,
we had to follow
2
EDA and DRA rules as well.
Right, right.
So we have if this goes through, then we'll have awarded the bid to somebody, we've already got contractors and everything set, or is that something we're still looking at?
Oh, no, when you award the bid, you're awarding to those contractors. So if there's any subcontractors required under their contract, they have them.
Right.
So, the city would be awarding a bid for the tank contract and for the treatment plant contract to general contractors is what you'll be doing.
What kind of warranty do they have on that glass fused?
They're telling me they got a 5-year warranty on the glass tank. Well, our specifications typically for construction only require 1 year, but they're telling me they'll give 5 years on the glass tank.
So do we know how long our concrete's been in place?
Long time.
You know, know, 75 was.
Huh?
I don't know.
50, 70 years, I would
I'm
say.
58-year-old and I remember it being there when,
70-something years.
Yeah, we don't know the exact amount. We know it's over 50 and could be as much as 70 or 75.
Did you have any feedback on why more concretes or any concretes were not
Yeah,
submitted?
well, I can tell you what I think the issue is, and the reason, and I can tell you for two things. The stainless steel tank, we did not receive any bids on that. There was a company called Instrument Supply out of Hot Springs that provides those tanks. And they obtained prices from those tank manufacturers. But the tank manufacturers that do the stainless steel are not general contractors. So they had to send them out to a general contractor to try to get bids for those tanks, and nobody bid that tank. I think it's the same situation with the concrete tank. As far as I'm aware, there's no contractor that specifically builds a concrete tank. Typically, it's a general contractor that builds them. And the general contractors like that bid the water treatment facility would typically be the ones that we would see build that type of tank or concrete structure. And they didn't bid it. I did have a discussion with a company that builds precast concrete tanks, because they called me and asked me if they could be considered as an or equal, and I told them yes. They precast their concrete panels, they bring them to the site, put them in place, and then they wire wrap the tank. with my discussion with them, I told them they could bid it, and we talked about the project. I told them that there were other alternatives for steel tanks, and they said that they would not bid it because they couldn't be competitive with steel. They can be competitive with other concrete tanks, but not steel tanks. They said typically the steel tanks are less expensive. So that's the reason I think we didn't get steel, didn't get concrete.
Can you get the 500,000 in a steel
Yes.
gallon?
You can build just about any size you want to in any type of construction, yes.
I think that's just where we're at we were at 500,000 gallons, and now we've got to jump down to 300,000 gallons.
Right.
Well,
For the
what we
price.
have now is 300,000. And after talking with, and I'll let James talk for himself, but he made the comment that he would rather have a 300,000 than 500,000. And I can let him explain that.
Well, as I remember, the difference between the 3 and the 5 was almost $500,000. And I'd rather, the tank that we're putting in is just a pass-through. We pump water, we put chemicals in it, it goes into this tank, and then it's re-pumped into the water system, into the storage tanks, where you actually get to use the water. And so it's just a pass-through. And so for the amount of money and the difference, I'd rather save that for another elevated storage tank that we will need sometime or another to actually be able to use the water. So that's my reason for not just jumping out there and spending additional money that we don't have, that we don't need to spend. My opinion.
One other obstacle that we had with the entire process was the foundation construction. It was more expensive than we anticipated because of the soil that's there. All of these tanks have to be set on what we call a gravel pier foundation rather than a spread type footing. So that cost us some money, but then you don't know that until you do the geotechnical report and you actually do the design.
Does the concrete have to be the same?
Yes. All 4 types of tanks were required to have the, they call them drilled gravel pier foundation. We had the option of drilled gravel, driven concrete, all types of piers, but it was because of the soil. So, but yes, all of them had to have some kind of foundation. To kind of give you, and I told the last time we met with the committees, for those of y'all that you're from the Delta and you're from a farm community, many years ago, what we call the old silo tanks, you've seen them standing, tall tanks that were dark blue, those are glass line tanks. This is the same type of tank that we're installing here. It's just, these are retrofit, these are made for potable water storage, those were made for drain storage. So they've been around for years, they've just not been in the water industry as long as they've been in the drainage, so.
These were taken to the Public Works Committee, who recommended the glass line tank. It was then taken to the Finance Committee, who also recommended the glass line tank. Before I ask Ms. Toddy to read the resolution, is there any other questions for Wayne or?
So these glass line tanks, there's only a 20 to 30 year service life of them. I mean, that seems like a lot of money for 30 years.
I'm not aware of that.
I mean, that's,
We've got some in service that have been in service for probably 40 to 50 years that they haven't had any problems with. So,
this is just straight off of the Aqua
It's
store,
off their store. I looked
glass
at
fused
that.
steel tanks.
20 years.
But it says 20, the service life is 20 to 30 years.
So if these have been around that long, I mean, you just said that you'd had some that,
yeah, Star City's got one that's been in since, I guess, probably the late 70s or so, that they have out at their airport. It's the same type of tank that we're talking about. So, I've never had any problems with it.
Okay.
So,
Me personally, I mean, I would love to see another bid for concrete, just so we can compare before we jump into this. I mean, that's just my,
Concrete comes up, I mean, You gotta look at it like this, if concrete comes up another $500,000, we know this was last 75 years. And concrete today,
It's not 75 years.
well, I manufacture concrete for a living, that's what I do for a living, I manufacture concrete. Concrete today is 10 times stronger than it was back then. So, I mean, if we get a bid that's even higher, and you spread that out over years' time, I don't want to come back in 30 years and have to deal with the same issue again.
Well, you still have to paint the concrete tank too. So
Huh?
you're gonna have to recoat that concrete tank periodically.
Take it out of
You
service.
you do have the coating expense, just like you do with the steel, with the welding steel. So-
What are we paying right now, James, to coat it, do you know?
No,
We
it's
just-
not, it's one paint.
We discussed the other night, right now the cost is somewhere between $250,000 and $275,000. By the time we needed to get one painted, who knows what it's gonna be. Could
So
be
we haven't
350.
painted this one at all.
Not since I've been here, no, I don't know about before that.
When was the last time it was painted?
Yeah, we
Anybody
know.
Don't have no idea.
Do you have to paint them?
I don't recall us doing it since I've been on.
I mean, nobody knows when we painted it, you know?
That doesn't necessarily mean your coating's in good shape on the inside.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, I've been in
Could be
tanks,
why it's
other
called
tanks that
poison.
haven't been painted 20 years, and when you go into them, you see that they need to paint it 10 years ago, you know, so that's the deal.
Another thing we need to think about as well is these grants are only good for so long. Something's gonna have to be done. The other thing is you go over and look at that tank that's there now, it's crumbling, it has big chunks of concrete falling off of it, just since we started looking at it. We wanna take a chance of waiting another 2 or 3 months to get bids, and if we even get bids, and worry about losing the tank period. That's what's been my concern ever since I've been in office, was been concerned that that's gonna rupture and we're really gonna be in trouble. We got this grant, or these actually 2 grants. They were kind of pushed back a little bit because of a government shutdown, and kind of put us behind the 8 ball. And now we've got the bids, the second bid, the first bid put us back a little ways as well. And so we got the second bids now, and the opportunity to get it done. Now, either one of the 2 bids, I mean, I'm satisfied with, I just think we need to get it done. And we don't need to lose that $2 million and $763,000 grant, which the 763 has already run its term, but we have been granted an extension on it. So we've
How
got.
long is that extension?
It varies depending on, I don't know what each Arkansas planning asks for. They don't have a specific extension they give you. You ask for an extension and then they make a decision whether they want it or not. I don't know what it's been.
And she didn't tell us what it was, she just told me that they had requested.
The bids you have right now are good for 60 days. If you go past the 60 days, then you may have to rebid the project. So,
Then we have to go through the whole process of redrawing everything, getting EDA to approve it, which was another issue that took some time, and then approve the bids, to be able to put it back out for bid again. So, I mean, we're looking at it could be another year.
Well, regardless, we've still got the issue that it's,
Sorry?
we're still in the negative on the project, correct? Where's that coming from?
We've got the money in infrastructure, we've got the money in general budget.
Got a lot of stuff going though.
My only thing is.
This is number 1 most important, in my opinion.
My only thing, and I'm glad you said it's most important. My only thing was 4 months ago, well, not 4 months ago, Lord, almost a year ago, when we went to put digital water meters out in the county, the people that own them digital meters were at this council meeting for 4 months explaining to us what we were doing. I haven't seen anybody from this office door, and they're expecting 3.7 million. You would think they would come down here and speak to us about that product. That's just me.
We didn't ask them to, for one.
If somebody's paying me 3.7, I'd be down there.
That was what we had, our engineer, while we had him here, to discuss that.
And I do appreciate you coming, because this
Yeah.
is, I mean, just looking at this is all we received. So, for you to kind of go through there and kind of show us and tell us how, but all that to say is that we get this Thursday, we don't have any specs, we don't have really anything that we can, and we've at least had 3 of us, probably most of us, have looked at this into this as far as pricing, and we don't really know what we're pricing, so it's hard for us to do our due diligence when, again, we have nothing to go on but the ordinance or the resolution itself and these numbers.
I'm not saying I'm against the glass infused tank, but I would at least like to see a concrete bid. So even if we gotta reach out to the contractors, have them bid it, just see what it is.
I don't think you can do that.
We've
I
advertised.
don't think you can reach out to a contractor and ask them for a bid now, you're gonna have to go through a bid process.
You gotta go back through the bid process.
You just have to add them.
For the EDA project. Did we get a bid on concrete on the first go-round?
No, the first go-round, we only bid last line. And we were so far out of budget, that's the reason we opened it up to the 4 options.
That's kind of what I was asking
And
earlier.
the concrete was in this project as an option, we just didn't get any bids on it.
So the contractors who knew about it refused to bid concrete?
Yeah, they didn't bid concrete, nobody bid concrete.
And the one that you talked to with the concrete company said he couldn't compete with it?
The one that made the precast concrete tank said he couldn't compete with the steel, so he didn't bid. That's the reason he told me he wouldn't bid. Because I was gonna allow that as an option.
And if he can compete with the concrete people, but he can't compete with the steel, then he would say that the other concrete people couldn't compete with steel.
We've always anticipated concrete would be more, but
Oh, yeah.
we don't have a bid for it, but, that was just, I've been doing this for 32 years, I've never built a concrete clear well, ever, because of the expense, and, you know, the system being as rigid as they are, and they're more susceptible to cracking and things. We've always built bolted tanks, a lot of ours have been welded steel for years, so, we've always been steel tanks.
So we bid it out at 500,000 gallons. Is that, what if we bid out at 300,000 gallons?
We did.
Yeah.
So we did do
300,000
that.
was a deductible.
The base bid, you have, state law requires you to have deductive alternates, so so your alternate needs to be less than what your base bid is. So the base bid was the 500,000 gallon, the more expensive one. The deductive alternate was switching it to a 300,000 gallon. So that's how we bid it out. So, we did the same. I said earlier we didn't have anything different on the treatment facility, but we did actually. We had we had an alternate for the treatment facility. We were concerned under our original bid, this has to comply with AIS standards and metal requirements. We were concerned that our metal building having to be better compliant was costing us extra money. So we bid an alternate for concrete block building with a wood frame metal roof. And it actually came in higher. So it ended up not being a deductive alternate. It ended up being an additive. Everybody had an add to that that bid the treatment facility. So that's the reason I said we didn't have any alternates on that, because that would have raised the price. So it ended up being with the steel building.
Ms. Toddy, would you read the resolution, please?
Resolution number 1334, 2026. A resolution accepting bids and approving costs for water system improvements for the city of Trumann, Arkansas, and for other purposes. Whereas the city of Trumann operates a water treatment and storage system essential to the health, safety, and welfare of its residents, and whereas the city's existing water treatment facility and related infrastructure have deteriorated significantly due to many years of wear and are in serious need of replacement to ensure continued reliable and safe water service. And whereas the city has solicited competitive bids for the construction of a new clear water tank and water treatment facility improvements in accordance with applicable Arkansas procurement laws, and whereas Texas Aqua Store Incorporated submitted the lowest responsible and responsive bid in the amount of $1,435,930 for the construction of a 300,000 gallon glass-lined clear water tank. And whereas the environmental process system submitted the lowest responsible and responsive bid in the amount of $1,697,816 for the construction of a metal water treatment facility. And whereas engineering fees for the project are $263,250 and administrative fees are $65,000, and whereas the total project cost is $3,461,996, of which the city of Truman's share shall be $698,746. And whereas the Public Works Committee and the Finance Committee have reviewed the bids and associated cost and recommend acceptance as being in the best interest of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas. Section 1, the City Council hereby accepts the bid submitted by Texas Aquastar Incorporated in the amount of $1,435,930 for the construction of a $300,000 glass line clear water tank. Section 2, the City Council hereby accepts the bid submitted by Environmental Process Systems in the amount of $1,697,816 for the construction of a metal water treatment facility. Section 3, engineering fees in the amount of $263,250 and administrative fees in the amount of $65,000 are hereby approved. Section 4, the total project cost of $3,461,996 is hereby approved, with the City of Trumann's portion being $698,746. Section 5, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized to execute all necessary contracts and documents to implement this project. Section 6, the City Council finds that replacing the aging and deteriorated water treatment facility is necessary to ensure the continued delivery of safe, reliable water service to the citizens of Trumann.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Jason Stewart made a motion to approve.
A second.
Kara wrote second. On discussion, I'll say this, I failed to say this a while ago, I just forgot to say it. The EAPDD has applied for further funding to possibly offset this whole 698, or 7, how much was that, 600? Yeah, 698. To offset either the whole part or portion of it, or maybe none of it. The worst case scenario is the 698 is where we would be. If DRA will approve extended funding, then we'll be able to get some or all of that part paid for as well.
Just talked a lot about spending money, so I just, the maybe of it is not something I'm really feeling. May get the grant, may not.
Well, it's not a grant, it's just
Or funding.
extended funding, and I understand that that's why we went with it this way instead of we may get or may not. This is the worst case scenario. If we approve this, this is where we will be unless that claim comes through, then it'll be less than that.
Reallocation, water rates, like I just don't like that.
Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, the water rates are gonna go up.
So we don't need to help it.
Well, we're not helping it. They're gonna go up by the state because they're doing the water rate study right now, which is required by the state to be done by June. And then they are gonna make us raise our water rates to whatever they tell us. We won't have an option. Now, I've been saying that since, for the last 3 years, I've been saying that that's gonna happen. Because that act was passed by legislation. And the Bottom line is, we either gotta get the tank fixed or we may be in trouble.
And I think that is what the committee felt the other night is, yes, it's a lot of money, but at this point, we've put it out for bid. Nobody bid on the concrete because that question was asked. And these are what we have and we need to get this done. A, we don't want to lose our funding we have now because then we're going to be in even more trouble. And B, we don't want to lose our water tank. And John Paul, you made the statement that you make concrete. How much is concrete right now?
Cheaper than steel.
But when was, what is it?
I pay $67.50 a yard right now.
How many yards of concrete would it take to build these?
I don't know.
Can you make one?
No, I can't make one.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at,
My yard max plan ain't gonna do that much, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm just asking, I know
Typically-
concrete's expensive.
I can tell you, I understand it is expensive, but, and I know I'm manufacturing concrete, but I can manufacture concrete for a fourth of what I can buy a steel vault for. I can manufacture a concrete box for roughly $75. And if I bought a steel, and I know this is not anywhere near, but this steel barrel vault's $400.
We also gotta look at the, not just the cost of the actual concrete itself, but the manufacturing of it, putting it together, building it, and all of that adds on even more.
Yes, so, I mean,
Do you sell concrete for $67 a yard?
That's what I buy.
that was what my next question was.
That's what I buy it for.
You buy it here in town for that? 'Cause
I make it, I manufacture it.
But what I'm saying, a contractor, if he's coming, if he's buying yards of concrete for construction, he's gonna pay
Oh, he's probably gonna pay, he's gonna pay probably right now $160, $170 a yard.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're talking double.
The 160 to 70 is what the contractor's gonna
Yeah.
pay for that concrete
Yeah.
before it's installed. I mean, if I'm fixing to estimate some clarifiers for, some water treatment facilities, and I'm probably gonna estimate concrete per yard installed with rebar, formed in a circle at about $1,500 to $1,900 a yard. By the time you put the rebar in it, you form it, you buy it, you set it in there, and you get it poured. And because it's expensive to build circular tanks. That's just typically what we would estimate it at, so. But I just want to clarify, you wasn't selling concrete for $60.
Yeah.
Buy some, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
At your doorstep tomorrow.
No.
You don't want his concrete, I promise you, going down.
It's obviously certainly needed. I don't want to downplay that, and we've got funding to do it. I feel like too many times we've gotten rushed into these things where we've got something, we've got to do it now, we've got to do it now. And I feel like that's going to add up, because we've got this little clause on here that says, Mayor and clerk are hereby authorized to execute all necessary contracts, documents to implement this project. Now, you can read that however you want to, but I kind of look at it as in there's not a change order limit, there's no spending cap, there's nothing that brings us back to the council if this gets out of hand with spending.
The way I read it is, our top line is, that's all we can spend.
I just feel like there's going to be more added on, because these projects are never gonna run this exact amount. There's gonna be change orders, there's gonna be 15 things that happen between now and then. And who approves those? Then it comes back to us.
Historically, anytime we've had a change order like that, it comes back here to be approved.
And this is not a rush, we've been dealing with this for 3 years. Actually, from what I've been told, it's been being dealt with even before I come in office.
We applied for funding before you was in office. And I guess after you come in office, we applied for funding through the Arkansas Natural Resources State Revolving Fund, and we were awarded 100% loan. So we turned that down. And then, the mayor worked diligently to get this grant for this project. So before received the grant, we were staring at 100% loan increase, so. And a lot of that's based on what your water rate's on. That's how they determine what that is. But yeah, we've been working on it prior to you being in office, so.
Lots of money going into water for the rates to go up. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
So these glass line tanks, how do you know if one's cracked? Does it leak? The glass line, does it leak? I mean, how, you just see a puddle of glass in there? I mean,
I don't know that I've ever heard of one.
there's only a 5-year warranty on it, is what I was asking.
The only place that I know it could leak would be at a bolt where the gasket's at. That's the only place. I've never heard of one cracked in the glass crack.
Are they earthquake proof?
Everything's designed for, structurally for the seismic zone. That was part of the reason for the foundation being more expensive because of seismic requirements. And all of the tanks, including the concrete and the steel and all of them are sized, for seismic. Because you're closer than a matter of fault soil affection. Yeah.
But nothing's guaranteed earthquake proof, right?
Nothing.
No, you're right.
Any other questions, comments, discussion?
So we have this in the budget?
Say what?
We have this in the budget? Or
It's in,
infrastructure?
it's in the infrastructure fund, and we've got,
Where would that infrastructure fund be after this amount?
well, it'll go down to probably about 200,000, but the next quarter is gonna go back up another 300,000. We put 300,000 in it every quarter. So the money that we use for those meters is almost back in that same fund. Not any more questions or comments? Ms. Toddy, roll call vote, please.
John Paul's left for a second. Get back. Maybe he went back.
Let's give him a minute. He's sick.
He's sick? Oh, no. I'm that guy. He's afraid that guy's gonna show up for concrete in the morning.
If you go out that door, you can get out to the hallway quicker.
Ms. Toddy, roll call vote, please.
Cindy Wood is absent. Candida Robinson.
4.
Kara Roach.
4.
Billy Poe.
No.
Jason Stewart.
4.
John Paul Thompson.
No.
Ernie Link.
No.
Brandon Schrader.
No.
Bonnie Winkles.
Same.
Brett Parker. It failed.
With 4 to 4.
It was 3, 4, 1 abstain, and 4 noes,
4.
and 1 absent.
I counted 4, 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4 against.
Candida Robinson.
4.
Kara Roach.
4.
Billy Poe.
No.
Jason Stewart.
4.
John Paul Thompson.
No.
Ernie Link.
No.
Brandon Schrader.
No.
Bonnie Winkles.
Same.
Brett Parker. Okay.
But Cindy's vote counts It's
For,
not, well, it's not the majority of who's here, it's
That's right, no, it takes a majority.
the council.
As a tie,
okay.
the mayor don't get to break the tie.
It takes a majority of the council. You got,
With
even
an
with her
absent
absent.
and an abstention, that's 2 no votes. Or equal to.
So we just lost $2.7 million.
I don't think we did. Just work a little harder.
I've worked as hard as I can to get where we're at.
We said that.
Next up is resolution number 1335. This is to allow us to apply for the LTAP grant from RDOT for Phase 3 of the Sunken Lands Trail. Ms. Toddy, would you read the ordinance, please, or the resolution, please?
Resolution number 1335, 2026, a resolution declaring the city of Truman's intent to utilize federal aid transportation alternatives program or recreational trails program funds. Whereas the city of Trumann recognizes that funds are available through the federal aid transportation alternatives program and the recreational trails program, providing 80% federal participation with a required 20% local match, which can be in kind for the development of the Sunken Lands Trail Phase 3. And whereas the city acknowledges that such federal funds are dispersed on a reimbursement basis requiring completion of project work and submission of proof of payment prior to reimbursement. And whereas the city further acknowledges that any project funded through these programs must remain accessible to the general public and shall be maintained by the city for the duration of its useful life. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, the City of Trumann hereby agrees to participate in this project and accept responsibility for its ongoing maintenance in accordance with all applicable regulations and requirements. Section 2, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute all necessary agreements, contracts, and documents required to facilitate the timely execution and completion of the project. Section 3, the City of Trumann hereby pledges its full support to this initiative and authorizes the Arkansas Department of Transportation to proceed with all actions necessary to implement the project.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Randy Schrader made a motion, Ernie Link second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed with no. Next up is resolutions number 1329 through 1333. These are resolutions for condemnations on 5 properties. They're at 100 North Ozark, 197 Oak, 300 Smith, 528 Edgerton, and 700 Pine. Mrs. Toddy will read the resolution once and include all of the properties in the reading. We will take each property separately for approval or for non-approval. Ms. Toddy, would you read the resolution, please?
Resolution numbers 1329, 1330, 1331, 1332, 1333-2026. Resolutions declaring certain buildings, houses, and other structures located at 100 North Ozark, 197 Oak, 300 Smith, 528 Edgerton, and 700 North Pine in the city of Trumann to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owners to abate said nuisance and for other purposes. Whereas the buildings and structures whose location is set forth herein are vacant and have become run down, dilapidated, unsightly, dangerous, obnoxious, unsafe, not fit for human habitation, and detrimental to the public welfare of Trumann citizens and residents. And whereas the condition of such properties constitute a serious fire and health hazard to the city of Trumann, and unless immediate actions are taken to remedy this situation by raising and removing said nuisance, there is a great likelihood that the surrounding property may be destroyed by fire originating from such unsafe and hazardous structures, and also that since structures are without proper sanitary facilities and as such are unsafe and hazardous and are and a breeding place for rats, rodents, and other dangerous germ carriers of diseases, such buildings constitute a serious hazard to the health and safety of citizens of Trumann, and they should be removed or razed for the purpose of eliminating such hazards. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council hereby declares the buildings houses, and other structures located at the properties identified in Section 2 below to be vacant and run down, dilapidated, unsafe, unsightly, dangerous, obnoxious, unsanitary, a fire hazard, a menace to abutting properties, with the current condition of said structures not being fit for human habitation, and because of such conditions, the City Council declares the same to be condemned as a public nuisance and is ordered raised and removed by the owner thereof. Section 2, that the owners of record of the following described properties are hereby directed to begin work to raise the structure and/or structures to abate the said nuisance within 30 days and complete the work within 60 days after the posting of a true copy of these resolutions at a conspicuous place upon the structures constituting the nuisance described herein, to wit: Resolution number 1329, 2026, Lot 1 of Block B of Trumann Original Subdivision, parcel number 555-00022-0000 to the City of Trumann, Poinsett County, Arkansas, located at 100 North Ozark and owned by Harry Yovis and doing business as Easy Realty Arkansas LLC. Resolution number 1330, 2026, Lot 25 of Block 14 of Poinsett Lumber and Manufacturing 3rd Subdivision, parcel number 555-00347-0000 to the City of Trumann, Poinsett County, Arkansas, located at 197 Oak Street and owned by Donald Trentham. Resolution number 1331, 2026, Lot 20 of Block 5 of Temple's 3rd Subdivision, parcel number 555-01322-00000 to the City of Trumann, Poinsett County, Arkansas, located at 300 Smith and owned by Tim and Tanya Brown. Resolution number 1332, 2026, Lot 5 of Allen Subdivision, parcel number 555-00499-0000 to the City of Trumann, Poinsett County, Arkansas, located at 528 Edgerton and owned by Franklin Laird Jr. Resolution number 1333, 2026, Lot 1 of Block 2 of C.H. Allen Subdivision, parcel number 555-00480-0000 to the City of Trumann, Poinsett County, Arkansas, located at 700 North Pine and owned by Anabar Morales, Francisca Santizo, and Elsie Velasquez. Section 3, if work has not begun on the aforementioned structure and/or structures to raise and/or remove them within 30 days, and work has not been completed within 60 days after posting a true copy of this resolution at a conspicuous place upon the structure and/or structures constituting the nuisance, the structure and/or structures shall be torn down and/or removed by the Director of Public Works or his duly designated representative. A citation may be issued for court and shall be deemed a misdemeanor upon conviction and shall be punishable by a fine of not less than $100 nor more than $500, or imprisonment for a term not to exceed 30 days, or both, at the discretion of the court. Each day after the aforesaid 30 days in which said nuisance is not raised and removed shall constitute a separate and distinct offense, punishable by a fine of $25 for each such separate and distinct offense. Furthermore, the City of Trumann may file a lien on said property under Arkansas Code 14-54-901-902-903-904 with the Circuit Court and/or the Tax Collector of Poinsett County. Section 4, that the provisions of these resolutions are hereby declared to be severable, and if any section, phase, or provision shall be declared or held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect the remainder of the sections, phrases, or provisions. Section 5, that these resolutions shall be in force, full force and effect from and after their passage and approval.
Do I hear a motion? Let's see, on the first property, resolution number 1329, 100 North Ozark, do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Karen Roach made a motion to approve. Here a second.
Second.
Candida Robinson, second. Any discussions?
So this is the Oak Bank building, correct? 100 North Ozark?
Yep. Is there?
Condemning it? Yes, absolutely. I worry about any raising or anything that we do, because that is a piece of history, whether we want to admit it or not. Gutting it, maybe, but just taking it down brick by brick. I would like to see something done with it. If and when. It's right across the street from what the city already has.
But it don't belong to the city.
I know, just saying.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against this property?
David Powell don't own it
Somebody in New York? Lawyer in New York. Mr. Gasaway has had some conversations with him.
Hasn't that property already been condemned once?
I think so.
Yes.
It has,
We condemned it, didn't know it sold.
Mr. Gasaway and I discussed this along with Captain Henry. The day that it was put in the newspaper to be condemned was the day that this guy purchased it online at an auction. He didn't know at that particular time that it was up for condemnation. Now, in all fairness to him, because he has been contacting finally after we've sent message after message and letter after letter, he finally contacted. And Mr. Gasaway and I discussed this, about it, to make sure there won't be any legal repercussions or anything like that, to just go ahead and bring it up for condemnation again. I'm gonna let Mr. Gasaway discuss, if he wants to, his conversations with the owner of the property.
I mean, all I can tell you is that he objects to condemnation. He has sent letters, I know, to me, and I believe to Captain Henry, basically just setting forth that he believes that he was, the prior condemnation, that he didn't receive proper notice, that his due process rights were violated, that we didn't condemn it because, properly because he wasn't provided notice, and that he objects to the condemnation and certainly raising the property, et cetera. So when I talked to the mayor and Captain Henry, I think the discussion was, well, just do it again. I mean, if that wasn't good enough for you, then we'll do it again. And so I guess that's why it's back on the agenda tonight. He didn't feel like he got proper notice. There was some question about when he acquired it. It was like the day he bought it was right around the time that the council voted on it. I can't remember if it was a few days before or a few days after the council didn't know that he owned it at the time. Really wouldn't have had any reason to know, given how close it was in time when the vote took place. So I think our discussion was the best course of action was, let's just start this process over again. I don't know if he's here tonight or has any representatives. I will tell you, he has sent letters, and he does not believe that this property needs to be condemned.
Has he seen it?
That's exactly right.
I don't know what he's saying.
I'm guessing no.
Danger.
Because, well, I mean, if I remember right, that's the reason why we condemned it, was to get some, whether they brought it back to code or they raised the structure, that's the reason why we condemned this to begin with. And, my question is after he was served with enough information from us, over the last 4 years, why has he not tried to bring it back into code?
It's a great question. I think Gary's had more contact with him than I have. I'd like to hear from Gary on this.
I'd love to hear if you have any understanding to that point.
I have no idea.
Okay.
He's pretty much been, against it all. Anything you say it's white, he says it's black. I say he was served properly first and second time. He says he wasn't. He just, in my opinion, he bought this sight unseen, didn't know what he was actually getting himself into, and then after he found out what was going on and we talked more about it, he found out what he got himself into, and he was trying any way to get out. He posted at one time, I think there's still a big board up there talking about an auction, gonna be a public auction. That never happened. I think, the way I understand it, and there's nothing against folks like that, he's one of the investors that's in New York or somewhere, that's what he does. He, all over the nation, he buys up properties that people don't pay taxes on or whatever, and if he makes money off of them, great. I think this ended up being one he bet on and lost.
So my question is he relayed to either two of you what he plans to do with it,
What's that?
the building?
No, what'd you say?
Has he relayed to any of y'all two, what he plans to do with it?
No, he said that I might have spoken to him, and that was in, once on the phone maybe or twice, and in emails, was he wanted to be able to bring it back up to code. And it's, I explained to him that it was well beyond being brought back up to code. I mean, I understand it's historical. I don't think there's any safety. I mean, I'm certain without a doubt, without even doing any testing, it's full of asbestos, so that could be asbestos abatement, asbestos removal. You see yourself, it's falling apart, the brick facade is cracked, and, I mean, the ceilings are failing in. It's kind of like the house that was on Gum Street, the big rock building is on the
Yeah.
corner of Gum and Crossing. I love that place. I
Oh, I
thought it
do
was
too.
great, it was nostalgic, it was wonderful, but it needed to go.
You've been to Blytheville, they have buildings that are similar downtown, just walls. That's it. Nothing else inside. They do food trucks, they do pocket parks. There's things that could be done with it. Now, obviously, it's not ours.
Yeah, I disagree with you there, but this isn't just walls and emptiness, it's mold and, like I said, asbestos. It'd be different if it's just walls, kind of like when the body factory burned, nothing was left but just walls.
What I'm saying, if it's nothing but the brick, all that's gonna have to come out anyway, regardless of what happens to it, whether it's torn down or like, the brick is the only thing, what I'm saying is, can be salvaged as a project of that. And again, I haven't been in it, so I don't know, but
I haven't either, I've looked in it, I've been in it years ago when it was supposedly a homeless shelter, it was falling apart then. And I mean, you can look at the brick on the outside, when you're going down East Main Street, there's a gigantic crack and it just keeps getting bigger and
Used to
bigger.
be the mayor's office.
I don't, and that's just my opinion, plus probably what the ordinance says, I'm certain. If you look at the
Hard to
value of
make.
the structure, our ordinance that, has been passed however long ago, it's definitely gonna cost more than 100% of the value of the structure to bring it back. Plus, there's plenty of people who complain about it. I mean, Mr. Schmidt himself, with the citizens.
No, it's a safety hazard for sure.
For the last 4 years, that's one thing we can definitely.
broken windows, boarded up, I mean, it's,
It's not even boarded up. That's
well,
what's so
you
bad.
used to be boarded up.
It's
like halfway
dangerous.
boarded
The
up.
window is missing the,
He's refused process, he's never been given proper notice. I've seen him pictures, I've seen him letters, I've told him he has to do it. And anyway, when he said he had an attorney, and that's just how we do, or how I do. When somebody tells me they have an attorney involved, then I let our attorney and their attorney work out what they need to work out. But that's, in my opinion, that's where we're at. But that's the thing, I believe it's gonna cost a lot of money too to do any kind of abatement.
Question. So, my understanding is this guy is an attorney, the owner is an
I
attorney.
have no idea. He never told me he's an attorney.
Okay, he sent a lot of correspondence, you sure? Did you, provide him note, did he know tonight's meeting, this was gonna be on the
I
agenda?
provided adequate notice according to everything. I sent, the first time, I sent letters to the owner, I put it in the paper, I posted the property. That's part of his problem. He bought it sight unseen, and when he contacted me, I sent him pictures showing where the property had been posted. He's like, I didn't see that, I had no idea. And honestly, my answer is, I'm sorry, you should have done a little bit of research. But the second time, sure, same thing. He said, this time, yes, this time he, accepted the certified letter, the whole 9 yards, yeah.
So it showed that he
Yeah.
signed.
And you've seen it, I think he said he was in possession of our letter, and that was his response, the certified letter he sent back, which was exactly the email he sent you and me and whoever else was in the email.
But he
So
knew
he
that-
definitely knows.
He knows that this property is up for condemnation, it's gonna be on tonight's
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's even, everything I read, he objected to all of it. His main objection was it being demolished before he came before the council, which we weren't gonna do that anyway. So, he just, in my opinion, he's just trying to do what he can do to, prolong things, maybe settle it, get out from under it. I don't really know what his plans are. I said the last time we really spoke, he said he retained Scott Trout as his attorney, that you and Scott Trout had spoken, and when he said that, I was like, cool. Yes, way Mr. Trout can converse, and that's,
I've tried to
But y'all
talk to
do,
Scott
yeah.
Trout,
Right.
but I've not been able to get a hold of him, so. Well, he knew that this was on the agenda for tonight's meeting.
It's been posted in the paper, it's been in all the buildings.
Yeah.
Received a certified letter that he signed for.
Okay.
It's even on Facebook to make all the Facebook.
He said tonight.
You'll find out if you didn't.
Any other
You're denied.
questions or comments? Ms. Toddy, roll call vote, please.
Cindy Wood is absent. Candida Robinson.
4.
Kara Roach.
4.
Billy Poe.
4.
Jason Stewart.
4.
John Paul Thompson. Ernie Link.
4.
Brandon Schrader.
4.
Bonnie Winkles.
4.
Brett Parker.
All right, next up is 197 Oak. Do I hear a motion for approval on 197 Oak?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Kara Roach made a motion, Ernie Link second. Is there anyone here for or against 197 Oak? Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. Next up is 300 Smith. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Carol Roach made a motion, Candida second. Is there anyone here for 300 Smith? Come on up, sir.
I'm Tim Brown, so I was one that owns the house. Of course, I know it's in disarray, don't look, but I will come over and fix it up, so. Start next week and get it, clean up the yard, get the fence down. Last tenant was there, just pretty much destroyed the place. So, it's been on the back burner, you know what I mean? One of them type things, you come over and look at it, and everything you look at, it just gets scary, turn around and go back home, so. But yeah, we will come over and work on it, replace siding, new roof, so I need it south, I want to do that. So, I know it needs a lot of work, but we'll, the 60-day thing, you know, if we're pushing it, maybe get it to 60 days, but we shouldn't be able to get the outside of it all fixed up, new roof, yard cleaned up in 60 days for sure. Then I just have to work on the inside of it, do whatever I'm gonna do. So, I mean, we got the letter, so I thought, you know, please talk to you on it. So, that's what we do for a living, so.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Brown? Brown, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, I know in the past that we have allowed, well, not allowed, I mean, the resolution says you've got so many days to start working on it or raise it. You've got to have it done, and in the past, we've allowed, if they showed a very significant progress, they were able to come back and on that 30 days or 60 days, I think it is, they were able to come back and Captain Henry can look at it and say, yes, it has been very extensive progress, but it's still condemned. If it's not done, then it goes like it's supposed to go.
I guess on the other place, they all contain, like, garbage containers. I know in the past, they get a contract for storage in like a dumpster.
Yeah, we have some dumpsters if they're available. We don't have a whole lot of them, so I mean,
The big ones are just lit.
30 yard and 40 yard. But I don't know, you have to talk to the water officer, Mr. Pagan. I don't know how many's available, if there's any available. But you can
My
get them.
thing is to tear the whole fence down, the whole thing, you know, people that lived there before that thought, so. I just think tear the fence down, don't know. So then just start that and start tearing side now, put the outside on, instead of mason like that. So that's just where I stand on it, so can get it, will get it. So, I guess that's it.
Any questions for Mr. Brown? Any suggestions or comments?
I guess my only suggestion was I still think we should condemn the home, and if you can make significant improvements in 60 days, come back and ask for an extension to get it finished.
I agree with that, I mean, that's fine. I just need a swift kick in the butt to do so.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Procrastination.
I'm working on your own stuff.
It is.
Yes.
I mean, I
Very
rather
hard.
than working and making money is working on my own stuff. So.
Yep.
But anyway, I mean, that's fine. So, somebody had to call and let me know, offer you.
You'll have to take care of that on
A lot
your
of stuff goes on,
own.
so.
You'll have to put that on your own calendar. We can't do that.
But anyway, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I agree.
Well-
I'd say within 60 days, you should have outside. And I know it needs floor doors and whatnot on the inside, that's what we do, so I mean, it ain't like, you can almost fix anything, so.
We've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no? Okay, it will be condemned, and, you know, and I, keep this in mind, if you don't have it up to par, or up to where they agree with you in 60 days, and,
Well, I mean, I just talking about, yeah.
Right.
Come back or whatever.
well, you'll
Or
have to
do I
come
need to come
back.
back anyway?
Well, you need to come back anyway.
Yeah.
In 60 days?
Yeah, that'd be, we're in April, May, June, be the June council meeting,
June 9th.
What day?
June the
June the
9th.
9th.
Gary, you'll remind him.
So, I was dealing with something long here, guy, we're leaving.
Long hair.
Is that it?
Oh, yeah.
One had a mullet.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Definitely, Gary.
But I know that if they ever have a problem, call.
He cross-dresses sometimes.
Anyway, that's what I'm always talking.
Thank you, sir.
So anyway, I see y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, next up is 528 Edgerton. Do I hear a motion for 528 Edgerton?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll say.
Kara Roach made a motion, John Paul Thompson second. Any discussion? Is there anyone here to speak for or against 528 Edgerton? Yes, sir.
I'm Franklin Larry Jr. I bought that property. I put a new roof on it. I've upgraded all the electrical. It's got 200 amp main service, all disconnect outside. I know my electrical. Like I said, the roof is 3 years old. It's got 17 more years on the roof. With a good paint job on the outside, it looks as good as anybody else's house. I'm working on the inside. I've been tiling the inside. I've got laminate floor on the inside in the 3-bedroom. I mean, you know, been working on it.
Mr. Henry, you have anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just look at the pictures alone, there's not a good paint job on it. There's something added on the front that looks like it's pressed board and it's falling apart. If there's been any type of electrical work done and they did it without a permit, as long as I've been here, I haven't seen any permits or seen any inspections over there since 2017. If they did it legally. And again, that's one of the houses that we get complaints about, not just Mr. Smith. There's other people. I don't know why we don't do something about these houses like this. Nobody's living in it, nobody's had water service there. When I checked it, because they call it archive, which means it's been more than 5 years since anybody's lived in it.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Laird? Any comments or discussion?
When were these photos taken, Gary? Do you know? I don't see a date.
Just say, March 2nd.
So these photos,
These are recent photos. Y'all can drive by
These-
at any time and look at them and you'll see it.
so that's my question. If the roof is only 3 years old, that just doesn't look like a
Yeah, I
house
think about
that's
the roof,
been
the roof
redone.
that- And you can look at the roofing, just on the front porch area that it was built on. I'm not sure what was going on there. They kind of wrapped the shingles all the way up the side like they were going up the siding a little bit. I don't know who did that. And you can look at it, there's been some soffits been replaced, but I mean, the backside of it, it doesn't look like it's been painted, and I couldn't tell you when. I have the pictures all right there in front of you. Pieces of press board just up there, it looks like press board, part of the board, rotten spots.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. Mr. Laird, 528 Edgerton will be condemned. just like anybody else, in 60 days, if you've got it up to code, not just put a paint job on it, then you can come back
We're
and,
talking about code, that's what I'd like to know.
well,
I don't think he can do anything to bring it up to code, he needs to tear it down, just like the resolution, when y'all vote and say you condemn it, that resolution says the only option is to raise or remove it. Now, for whatever you did for Mr. Brown, I'm sure that'll be in the minutes somewhere, and I guess I can take note of that, but normally, if y'all vote yes, that's all the resolution says, is to raise or remove it, doesn't give an option to repair it. So, in my opinion, if you wanna repair it, maybe vote to table it or something to give them more time, that helps me keep up with the two with all these structures that I have to deal with. That's just a suggestion.
That being said, I do know, this has been, y'all have condemned property. There's a condemned notice on the building, and people has redone them. I know for a fact, there's one on Pine right now that has been redone. That was condemned by this statute.
now, I'm not gonna say they haven't, because just like the last one, they've been given extra time by the council, and, some of them have been tabled. The one on Pine, I can't tell you, I don't know, there's been so many of them. There have been those that have been remodeled. But again, it's condemned, and what happens after that, you know, you'd have to come back to the council to get approval for anyway, and you'd have to get Captain Henry to approve any work that was done on it, before it come in. So, I mean, in all actuality, if it's been rewired, just like he said, that's an illegal rewiring because there's no permit's been pulled on it.
Well, you can rewire your own property.
Not without a permit. You have to have a permit. It's not just our code, it's state code. We do it, it's illegal.
Well, that was done by myself. And it is up to code on the electric part.
Nobody's inspected it, so who knows?
528 Edgerton has been condemned. Next up is 700 North Pine. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Karen made a motion.
I'll see.
John Paul, second. Any discussion? Anyone here in for or against 700 North Pine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm not the owner, I'm actually the bookkeeper, tax preparer, and insurance agent for the owner. He's out of town today for
What is your name, sir?
Arturo Gonzalez.
Arturo Gonzalez.
That's correct, sir. But he didn't want to just not show up and, you hear Gonzalez Paris, and some people don't like us already, not because we're brown. So we didn't want to give that impression, we just don't care. He did, or actually I took it upon myself, they bought the property, started a business in 22, they've been doing okay. Bought it, I think they finally got it purchased in late 24 or beginning of 25. Had a big medical thing for their funds that were going to went away for applied. I spoke to Patton. I think we do have a plan of action, and whatever, you guys say, of course, that's what's gonna go. The guy will, of course, follow your orders. He has put about $35,000 into it since he, did it. And he also followed that advice. Okay, so when he bought it, they told him that he could do the work without a permit, which is not true. Since then, me and him have agreed that he will not buy any property without consulting. But the intention, they're living in a trailer in Jonesboro, is where he inserted the letter. The intention was to buy it, repair it, expand it, and move to Trumann. And then, of course, reside here. But that, since the medical emergency has kind of put in, hold, he
it's got a roof, you know, and everything. I don't expect you guys to tell me, yeah, go ahead and fix it, but I do think that you need to hear, you know, the story about how to do that, that's all.
Anybody have any questions? Any comments?
Just make sure that I'm reading this correctly. So we do would have 60 days, the 60 days to go ahead and get it up to code. And then another 30 days where it has to be raised and removed.
90 and all.
90 and all, yeah.
Just making sure that, I don't know that that was clear for the other gentleman, but I know you've talked to him plenty of times before, but just so we're clear.
Yeah,
You do have,
yeah.
even if it is condemned, you still have time to work on all the things you need to work on.
But Captain, you know, I will explain that to the owner after I leave here. Of course, he will love to get completed, but I'll be honest with you. If we have to tear it apart, it will be attached right on to, you know, non-nuclear people. They're just satisfied on that. So, if that's in, you know, we're sure to fix it. The challenge will be the cut, we have to cover because, that means electrical and plumbing, you know, that will be his biggest challenge because he's not licensed.
We have a motion, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, if there's an obstacle, come back and see us in 60 days and we'll.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. It is, will be condemned.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's the last one on that one. This is Building Safety Month in the state of Arkansas. I have a proclamation for building safety. Building Safety Month proclamation, May 2026, whereas the city of Trumann, Arkansas is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safety construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by ICC to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Built to Last, the theme for Building Safety Month 2026, encourages us all to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, I, J. Paul Woods, Mayor of Trumann, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities. Trumann is recognized as a Tree City USA city. We are in our 14th year of being recognized, and I have a proclamation proclaiming April 21st as Arbor Day in the city of Trumann. Arbor Day proclamation, whereas Arbor Day is a celebration dedicated to planting and conservation of trees, and it is observed annually. Whereas trees provide essential environment, social and economic benefits, including purifying the air, enhancing the beauty of our communities, shade and shelter, and supporting wildlife. And whereas trees help to mitigate climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, vital habitats for wildlife, and contribute to the preservation of soil and resources. And whereas the planting and care of trees strengthens the bond between and promotes the responsible stewardship of our natural resources. Now therefore, I, J. Paul Woods, Mayor of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim April 21st, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Trumann, Arkansas, and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and in recognition of the importance of trees and value of green. Wait, that was all. In recognition of the importance of trees and the value of green spaces, the citizens of Trumann, Arkansas, encouraged to plant and nurture trees to support local environmental awareness and community involvement. Now, I got it right there. Finally, we have the mayor's report. We've been really busy at the office preparing to see some of our work from previous years finally pay off. We know what happened with the second round of the bids on the Clearwater tank, as we discussed. So we don't look like we'll be starting construction very soon on that. We let out the bids for lighting at the sports complex to use the $250,000 grant that we were awarded. I have talked with ASU Newport and have a meeting scheduled later this month with their officials about Sims Talbot building and them starting some classes and training in there again. We worked on getting all the easements along 69 Highway for us to begin the water and sewer relocation for the 69 widening project. We participated in cybersecurity briefings and trainings to stay on top of keeping our records secure. Bob Sile and I went to Searcy for a Municipal League conference that discussed several issues dealing with economic development, blight, and issue 3 that will be on the ballot in November. We'll be putting information out on issue 3 for people to see what it's about and why it's important to the cities in the state of Arkansas, and especially smaller cities. And finally, we held the pre-construction meeting for the water and sewer location on 69 Highway. The contractor said it should take about 2 months if the weather holds out for them to complete the project. Finally, this week is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. We have one of the best communications departments in the state. They work hard to keep our officers safe and our community. And thank you to all that they have done. And Chief Thomas, if you'll let them know that we appreciate them. One more thing, and it's been mentioned earlier, we've been working on the street lights, getting those replaced. Entergy and Craig Electric have both been here working on them. I don't know exactly how many they've got done. I have got a complaint about why we put a light up that was, we just replaced a light and it lit up their backyard. And they don't like it, but anyway. That's all I have.
Mayor, in reference to Arbor Day, we are having a tree planting ceremony
Yeah.
on the 21st at the fire station for celebrating the first anniversary. And it will be at 10 o'clock, so we invite all to come for that.
Yeah. The 21st of April, at 10 a.m., we'll be planting a tree at the fire station, and it'll be also in recognition of the 1-year anniversary of the station being open. Anybody on the list?
No, yeah, just one,
Wayne and Heather.
okay.
Good job. Mr. Smith?
I'm gonna start the clock right now.
Okay.
I represent Citizens for Swing Trumann. We're gonna have a town hall meeting on Thursday, April the 30th at 6 o'clock at the old community house to hear your concerns and whatever. Citizens for a Clean Trumann submitted a list of 72 structures for condemnation over 3 years ago
and I have an update as of Monday, March the 23rd. 25 of the 72 structures submitted over 3 years and 3 months ago have not been removed. We added 8 structures on January 19th of this year to bring the total to 33. Now, code enforcement, they have their own agenda. They did 19 in 2023, they did only 6 in 24, and 25 in 2025. Now, the above totals for code enforcement equals 50, and 14 have no progress, or 28% of that total. So 14 still remain from the code enforcement list, 33 still remain from our list, okay, Citizens for a Clean Truman. So that's 47 structures that need to be taken down now. And that's after 3 years and 3 months, okay? Help us understand why you think not cleaning up Truman is a good idea. Public safety for our police officers and our firefighters should be everyone's goal. If we clean up all of Truman, everyone will be much safer. When a structure is removed, a new house is constructed 3 or 4 months later. And I'm sure y'all have seen that driving around town. Why hasn't our current mayor addressed the lack of code enforcement in the past 3 years and 3 months? For most of us, our home is the most valuable asset we have, and we have existing laws to protect these homes. Now, we are not asking code enforcement to break the law. We are asking code enforcement to enforce the law. So please come to our public meeting on Thursday, April the 30th at 6 o'clock at the Old Community House, and you will hear a lot more people that are more emphatic about this than I am. Thank you.
Heather.
Do you hear a motion to adjourn? Motion. Ernie Lee made a motion. John Paul Thompson, second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say here.
I was talking to Wayne.